Ms. Simpson, let us know when we're good to go. I'd like to call this meeting to order, the special meeting of Lancaster County Council on March 17th, 2021. Welcome those who are here today. Would you please rise and join Council Member Billy Mosteller as he leads us in our Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Father in heaven, thank you for another blessed day. Lord, let our county and our country continue to heal from this COVID-19. Watch over everyone and protect us. Lord, bless each council member that's here today that as we come to do business for Lancaster County, help us make wise decisions for the county. In Jesus' name, pray. Amen.
Amen. Do I have a move down number 4, approval of our agenda? Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion for Ms. McGriff, second for Mr. Carnes. All in favor, raise your right hand. Go ahead, Mr.
Before y'all approve the agenda, we'd just like to note for the record that we do not have the exhibits for the second reading for the easement for Goodwill. And our recommendation is to proceed with the public hearing because it's already been advertised. We will bump this to the 22nd and hopefully have those exhibits for you then. But council previously said you wanted to see the exhibits for second reading. We're still awaiting those for Goodwill.
Does somebody want to make a motion to amend the agenda?
I'll make that motion to amend the agenda.
I have a motion from Mr. Blackman, a second from Mr. Honey.
As a point of order, I would keep the agenda as is, call that matter to the floor, convene the public hearing, and then I think it would be appropriate for someone to move to defer a vote on second reading to March 22nd versus amending the agenda to omit that matter altogether or have some other kind of hybridized language. Again, I think it's best to keep it on the agenda, call it, then make the motion to defer it after the public hearing.
Would
I withdraw my amendment.
All right, Mr. Blackman will withdraw his motion. We have a motion on the floor to approve the agenda. All in favor, raise your right hand. We have unanimous approval. We move down to citizens' comments. No one signed up online or in person. Let's go to item number 6, our non-consent agenda. 6A, we have a public hearing and third reading of ordinance 2021-1717 regarding amending the Unified Development Ordinance regarding the minimum lot size for the institutional district. We will do our public hearing, but no one signed up for that. So we move out of the public hearing and Roxburgh Hands. Mr. Burhands, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. Thank you for having me here. In brief, I know you're familiar with this amendment. Currently, the Unified Development Ordinance requires a minimum parcel size of 1.5 acres to establish an institutional district parcel. The proposal before you this evening is to reduce that to 10,000 square feet or closer to a quarter acre standard. We find that's consistent with some of our other more modest commercial districts, as well as some research we've done in the surrounding region of other similar communities. We think that this would allow more smaller businesses like hair salons, barber shops, maybe even an ATM machine to legally operate on an institutional parcel in various areas of the community. The staff is recommending approval of the text amendment. Planning Commission considered this at their meeting last night and also held a public hearing. There were no public comments. A lot of discussion from Planning Commission centered around the ability to put a septic system on a quarter-acre parcel such as this. And that's the reason why you see a recommendation for approval, but at a 4-3 split vote. I think there was perhaps maybe just on that topic, I think that there was perhaps it wasn't realized that you can do septic off-site. You could have through an easement. So you could have a quarter-acre institutional parcel with the septic system on an adjacent parcel by virtue of an easement, and DHEC does allow that. So I think that was the primary concern expressed by what I heard from some of the planning commissioners. Again, with planning commission and staff recommend approval of this. I'll make myself available for any questions.
Any comments or questions, Mr. Burhans? Any discussion? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hearing no discussion, I think we're ready to vote. Well, we got to have a motion for, I'm looking for a motion to bring this matter to the floor.
Who made that motion?
Mr. Honeycutt? Mr. Honeycutt, sorry about that. Ms. McGriff with the second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I think we're ready to vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. We have unanimous approval. Third reading of ordinance 2021-1717. Let's move down to 6B, third reading of ordinance 2021-1707 regarding rezoning property owned by Tracy Griffin from RN to INS. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
Have a motion from Mr. Honeycutt, second from Mr. Mosteller. Mr. Burhans?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of council, thank you. We do have a proposal before you to rezone a property currently zoned rural neighborhood to the institutional district. It's located at 4889 Charlotte Highway, just immediately south of the Van Wyck Elementary School, and the applicant is Ms. Tracy Griffin. This subject property is located in the southern panhandle small area plan geography, and it is consistent with that as that parcel is designated as institutional, so it's a perfect match and consistent with that plan. Planning Commission has previously recommended approval of this. Staff has also recommended approval, and this is third reading, and council has approved the 2 prior readings of this ordinance. I'll certainly make myself available for any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Any discussion? Thank you, Mr. Burhans. Have a motion for approval of third reading of ordinance 2021-1707. All in favor, raise your right hand. We have unanimous approval of third reading of ordinance 2021-1707. Let's move down to 6C, public hearing and second reading of ordinance 2021-1718 regarding approving a reciprocal easement agreement between Lancaster County and E&B of Indian Land, LLC. We have a public hearing scheduled, but no one signed up, Mr. Willis. So with that, I'm looking for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we delay voting on the second reading until our next normal agenda
Scheduled.
meeting.
All right, have a motion from Mr. Blackman to delay second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Carnes. Any discussion? All in favor of Mr. Blackman's motion, raise your right hand. We have unanimous approval. And second reading will come up, our first regularly scheduled meeting in April.
Mr. Chairman, John may have some additional comments. Our plan is to bring this to you on the 22nd. If we don't have the exhibits then we'll kick it again. John, any comments you may have?
Correct. I believe that the exhibits are understanding. The Goodwill camp believe they had finalized exhibits yesterday, but from our staff, and I believe Lancaster Water and Sewer, those plans were not final. Theoretically, they may be finalized prior to the next agenda on the 22nd, and I understand that the Goodwill outfit does have some time constraints and pressures on their project. So that being said, we will see if they can get the exhibits finalized and approved and to us prior to that meeting. If they are not finalized, I would recommend a motion similar to the one today, just deferring it to the first April meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. DeBose. Mr. Willis, is there anything else today? All right, let's move on down to item number 10, adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn these proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt. I have a motion from Mr. Honeycutt to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Carnes. All in favor, raise your right hand. We have unanimous approval to adjourn. Thank y'all very much.
We got another meeting.
This meeting is adjourned.
At least 15 seconds.